Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
All right, welcome back. Tonight I'm going to be joined by a remarkable guest, Andrew Jenkins, 21 years of age. Life took a dramatic turn for Andrew when he was pronounced dead at the scene of a car accident and spent 4 weeks in a coma. And despite doctors' grim predictions, he made a miraculous recovery. And fast forward 25 years, Andrew has become a finalist, or did become a finalist, on UK's second series of Traitors, which we only talked about a few minutes ago. And now he's using that platform to shine a light on mental health, a challenge he's faced since his recovery. And he's also gearing up for the Big Trek Challenge to raise funds for Headway, the Brain Injury Association. Andrew, good evening to you and welcome along to the show.
Good evening. Hi, Niall. How are you doing? You okay?
Good. Life has been a bit of a roller coaster for you recently, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's been really busy, and I'm in the middle of my big challenge at the moment. So yeah, it's been really good at the moment.
We'll come back to the challenge shortly, but I want to take you back because people are very interested, of course, in what you went through. Your life, something that you experienced that most of us, thankfully, will never experience. If you could take us back to that day, the day of the accidents, what do you remember about that time? Or do you remember anything about that time?
Obviously, I can't remember the accident. As soon as I flipped my car, I went out the side window. I was basically unconscious, so I can't really remember anything. All I remember is waking up 4 weeks later, my mother and father standing over the bed, and obviously telling me what had happened and where I was. I didn't know where I was or what happened. So
that 4 weeks of your life just vanished. It just didn't exist as far as your mind was concerned.
Basically, yeah. I didn't know where I was or what had happened or anything. So my parents had to explain to me I was in a car accident and where I was and everything. So, it's a bit scary waking up. But, I'm lucky I woke up. I'm lucky I do remember where everybody was.
And I often wondered, when people were in a coma, do they feel anything, hear anything, see anything? Since then, have you ever had any kind of flashbacks as to, what happened during that 4 week period? Did voices that you might hear or words of comfort or whatever it is? I've often wondered, do people unconsciously hear those things?
I must have heard people because what the used to have nurses holding my hand. They were sitting by my bedside every night to hold my hand. And one night, one of the nurses asked me if I was in pain. I squeezed her fingers really, really tightly. So she told the doctor that I was in pain. They upped my dosage of morphine. I woke up the next day then. So I must have been able to hear the lady. So
you must have been kind of close to waking up at that stage, obviously. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah. But I don't really remember a great deal about it. All I remember, my mother and father said, my mother said, when I woke out of my coma, I told my mother I saw I was walking up a very dark tunnel with a very bright light at the end of the tunnel. And I was just about to go to walk into this light. And all of a sudden, I heard voices from behind me, which was my younger brother and my partner's dad at the time, calling me not to go, to come back. So I stopped at the tunnel. I looked at them. I looked at the light. I looked back and forth a couple of times. And then I turned down at the tunnel and walked back towards my brother and my dad. I woke up the next day then. So,
So you weren't. So in other words, what you're saying, Andrew, is you weren't ready to go. No, you weren't ready to go.
Basically, I was quite stubborn. It wasn't my time.
But I mean, doctors kind of predicted at the time, it was kind of a bit of a doomsday prediction that you wouldn't walk or talk again. And, the odds of you doing that were very slim. But you kind of defied those odds. I mean, that journey to recovery must have been very difficult for you, was it?
Yeah, it was. Well, my parents were told on a few occasions that I had severe brain damage. From the scans they did on me, they saw shadowing on my brain, which meant brain damage. They said if I wake up, I'm not going to be able to recognise anyone, walk, talk, use my arms and legs again. So I woke up, and I remember the doctors coming around a couple of days later and telling me I wouldn't walk ever again. And I said, I guarantee I'll walk out of this hospital. And the doctor said, you won't. And I said, I will. And I proved the doctors wrong. I learned to walk again. It took me, I think it was about 2 weeks to learn to walk again.
That must have been so difficult to defy those odds.
When I got out of bed. Yeah, it was when I got out of bed for the first time. I genuinely could not remember how to walk. I couldn't find my feet. My brain couldn't find my legs. And the physio had to pick my feet up and put one in front of the other. And I remember how to walk then. So after a couple of days, it got better. I started to learn to walk in 2 weeks then. So yeah, it was tough.
I mean, you mentioned as well that mental health has been a significant challenge since your recovery as well. Tell us a bit more about how your mental health was affected. Obviously, the very idea and the trauma of having an accident, a serious accident like that, would play havoc with your mind. But generally speaking, how has your mental health been since the accident?
Oh, it was awful, to be honest. And I was a macho 21-year-old rugby person. I was an invincible 21-year-old full of testosterone. So I was offered counselling after an accident, but I refused counselling because I thought I would see somebody in a white coat who would judge me, psychoanalyse me. So I refused counselling. I couldn't talk to my family because we don't talk about feelings and emotions. We got an old school generation. My family, my dad's 80, my mother's 78. I got 3 brothers, 2 older, 1 younger. They're all big, strong rugby people, gym people, the worst people. They're talking about feelings and emotions, but I didn't talk to anyone about it for years and years and years, and I struggled in silence. I put a mask on every day, go to work with a big smile on my face, but behind closed doors, I hated myself, I hated what I saw in the mirror, wish I was dead, couldn't accept what happened to me. Yeah, I hated my life basically for many, many years in a dark, dark place.
Mm. And I suppose for a lot of people as adults, particularly men maybe as well, women have better social circles than men. Men tend not to talk about these things because it makes us feel weaker. We need to get over that. We need to stop thinking like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Growing up, I was involved, I suppose. At my culture, I was growing up in toxic masculinity, I suppose, where we thought as a young age, if you talk and open up or show emotions, it makes you weak. It actually doesn't. It's the opposite. It makes you brave and makes you strong and courageous.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to encourage men to open up and talk, basically, and don't suffer in silence.
And, I'm going to talk to you as well about traders and also about you raising money for Brain Injury Association. But in saying that, is there many people in your situation? I mean, do you know the statistics of how many people are, taken with brain injuries every year or in bad accidents and end up in your situation? Is there many people in that situation every year in the UK?
Yeah. Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of people every year going to end up with brain injury or end up in accidents, come from different things, not just a car accident, could be anything really. There's hundreds of thousands of people a year which end up with suffering brain injuries and things. And it's not just the survivors of brain injury or struggle, it's also the families as well, because they have to give up work to look after people, and it impacts the whole family, really.
Yeah, and it's something we don't think about, that your brain is probably the most fragile part of your whole body. And yet, normally when you have an accident, it's the first thing that gets bounced off something, usually a wall or a ground or a windscreen of a car or whatever it happens to be. So, and it's only the only protection it has is a little bit of fluid between, the bone of your skull and your brain, which is a very soft piece of, I suppose, cells is all it really is. So it's very easy to damage it. I mean, a bleed on the brain can do a huge amount of damage to your personality, to your life.
Yeah, massively. It changes your personality completely, to be honest. And I smashed my skull, so I had a big hole in my skull. So I had lots of bone embedded in my brain. So that was the first operation I had the night of the accident.
To have all that bone removed. Yeah, to have it all removed from your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first operation I had.
I'll come back to the Brain Association in a second because I want to talk about your trek. But people might know you better, of course, those who have been watching UK Traders. I have to be honest, I haven't watched it. I heard all about it. I know all about it. And my listeners tell me about it on a regular basis. But you got into the final of it. Yeah. So, I mean, what was that like? Or what made you want to do that, by the way?
Actually, they approached me. So I got a page on Instagram called Strength in You, which is the page I set up to talk about mental health. And I had a message on it from a casting director back in March last year saying, your story looks amazing. You seem like a nice guy. Do you fancy applying for this show? And I thought, first of all, it was somebody pulling my leg and somebody winding me up. So I thought, I'll try it. And I kept getting through the next round, the next stages. And then eventually they said, we love you. We love you. Do you want to come on the show? So I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. And the only reason I went on the show was to get a platform to talk about mental health. I want to change the world. I want to help as many people as possible. I want to reduce, suicide, especially in men. And I just want to help as many people as I can, really. I got a good platform now to do that.
And by the way, were you a traitor? You need to tell me because I haven't watched it. Were you a traitor or a faithful?
You might watch it, so I don't want to spoil it, but I was both. I started off as a faithful, and I was recruited then to be a traitor. So I was on both sides.
And were you good at the deception?
Well, I'm not very good. I would have won it otherwise. If I was good, I would have won it. So I'm not very good. I can't be that good.
And I mean, so obviously you got your message out to people, which was an important part of this whole thing. So tell us about the Big Trek Challenge now. I'm kind of what motivated you to do this? What is it? Essentially a monumental task. I mean, it really is. That, you're embarking on this Big Trek Challenge, which means you're going to walk 1,200 kilometres across 4 nations, including Northern Ireland, by the way, to raise money for Headway, the Brain Injury Association. Yeah. I mean, that's a monumental task for somebody who's had basically a life-changing accident.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I'm doing it for people out there who perhaps look at different, go scarring, who've lost their self-belief, don't believe in themselves, who've been told they're not good enough or never amount to anything in school, perhaps, or people have been in a coma, been told they can't do something, struggle with their mental health. I tick lots of boxes because I'm doing it for all these people out there. People have had a brain injury to say, keep believing in yourself, keep working hard, and you can achieve anything in life or most things in life that you want. So being told I couldn't walk 25 years ago to now walking 1,200 kilometres is a big challenge for me. And I'm going to the 4 home nations. So I started off in Scotland in the Traitor's Castle where I filmed that. And then I go to the Lancaster Castle tomorrow. In a couple of days' time, I'm on a ferry across the Carrickfergus Castle in Northern Ireland. And then I'm back to North Wales and finishing in my homeland of Wales and finishing in Cardiff Castle. So 4 countries and 4 castles.
And how's the training been going? Are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, the training is just walking, basically.
This is it, isn't it? But still, I can't walk to the shops without feeling tired, to be honest with you. So 1,200 kilometres sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, no. The physical, my body's conditioned. I've been doing it for, I think it's my 25th or 6th day now, so I've been doing it. My body's fine. It's a mental challenge, and I'm struggling and getting fatigued, and obviously my mind starts playing tricks on me, doubting myself. So I'm a human being at the end of the day. And my social media, I'm in the mental health and well-being space, but I want people to be, I'm real. You see, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It's all, I want to be real with people. And I'm straight, I get my down days the same as everybody else.
And do you still get those down days, as part of your mental health challenge? Do you still get those days where you feel like you just don't want to get out of bed?
100%, yeah. Like I said, I'm not a robot, and I sound exactly the same as the next person, I suppose. I get, I got life issues, I got problems, I got a son, I got money, I got a job, so I'm the same as everybody else. I just got coping mechanisms and strategies I can implement to stop me spiraling or stop me, getting into a bad place, really.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you were to give advice to anybody, I suppose family are a huge part of your recovery, and your family were a huge part of your own recovery. Yeah. But if you were to give advice to somebody, and many people have been in your situation who ended up, with life-changing injuries, particularly brain injuries, what advice would you give them going forward when they feel there's no light at the end of the tunnel for them sometimes?
I say keep believing in yourself. It is like the end of the tunnel. It is. You do get dark days. It will. It's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It's not. But keep believing in yourself. Keep working hard, and you'll get there. But also make sure you open up and talk to someone. It hasn't got to be family, but make sure you talk. Don't bottle things up because that's no good. It's not healthy. And make sure you open up and talk. It doesn't make you weak. So make sure you speak to someone and talk to someone. Quite. I wish I'd spoken to somebody a lot sooner.
Yeah, well, I got to say, it's a really inspirational story for many people out there who would just give in after something like that happens. By the way, if people want to support you, obviously you're raising money and you want people to kind of support you. You want people to put their hand in their pocket if they can and help you. What's the best way they can do that?
I got a GiveStar page, or the best way if you want to find the link for that is to go on my Instagram page or LinkedIn or my website. I got andrewjenkins.co as my website, or Andrew Jenkins Official is my Instagram account, or Andrew Jenkins on LinkedIn. And I'm greatly appreciate any amount. I know it's a difficult time out there, everybody's struggling financially, so any amount is greatly appreciated, to be honest. So I'm really grateful from the bottom of my heart, to be honest. Anybody can donate anything at all. Okay,
so the best place for people to go probably is to social media, Andrew Jenkins Official. Yeah. So that's Andrew Jenkins Official if you want to go on the site and support you. Well, look, I wish you well on the challenge, the Big Trek Challenge.
Thank you.
By the way, what's happening after the Big Trek Challenge? Any more reality TV shows, or is that it for you?
I'm on a rest for a couple of weeks, I think. I'm going to put my feet in an ice bath for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure. I'd like to do some reality. Yeah, I'd like to do something else. I know SAS Who Dares Wins or something like that.
Love Island. What about Love Island? No, Love Island. No.
No. I'm not one for Love Island. I'm the body for Love Island, I don't think.
But look, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Andrew. It's certainly, you're an inspirational character, and I really appreciate it. And the best of luck, by the way, on the challenge. Don't forget, by the way, if you want to get involved, if you want to support him, Andrew Jenkins Official is his Instagram page, andrewjenkins.co if you want to go on the line and support him. Listen, thank you very much indeed, Andrew, and thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.